Reshmi, you want to unmute?
Yes, you all can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, we are ready to get any question. We are happy to answer that. And I would certainly like to thank Scott and Rachel and UT South Asian Institute for this opportunity, for giving us this platform, this wonderful platform with the educators and the critical literacy community to present this show. But if there is any question, I can answer. And apart from that, we can share a little bit of story, how we came up with this project, the story behind the stories a little. Scott, you can hear me, right? Everybody is muted, I can see.
Does anyone have any questions, any comments? We'd really welcome any comments that you might have.
I have a comment. I had never heard these different languages. Obviously, I didn't understand them, but thank you for the opportunity to hear different languages. I speak English and I speak Spanish.
Yes.
And I work with dual language children that speak Spanish. So I'm assuming this will be on YouTube?
Yes, it will be on YouTube, and please feel free to share with your friends and the educator community. And I appreciate this comment a lot, Diana, because the whole idea of presenting this show is to give our diverse community a little bit of flavor of all the different languages out there. And here we have presented 3 languages from South Asia, and the stories, the moral of those stories, and the visual art. Those visual art are very common in South Asia when we tell stories to young kids. So yeah, those are sort of our the kind of perception to put it out there, so children and educators get a little bit of flavor of those languages, how they sound, how are the expressions, and the stories as well. So if there is no question, I can share a little bit how we came up with this project, but feel free to throw a question and I'll answer that, if that is okay. Scott, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so is it okay? I mean, I haven't got any other question yet, but the question that Diana asked, that could be a very good intro on to tell a little bit about the story behind the story, and our storytellers can tell their part as well. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, well, in fact, it is a lockdown time. We are all staying home and trying to make our life a little interesting, using our creativity. And I remember, I mean, Sylvia, Reshmi, and I mean, we are good friends and we are apart. She lives in Bay Area and I live in Austin. So we were kind of discussing, I mean, anything we could do using our love for art and creative art. And she's a very good, I mean, person in creating visual art and crafts. So I came up with this this publication from Hard Story Foundation is called the Brave Women of Bangladesh. So it is UNDP Bangladesh and Hard Story Foundation. They published this book online. So I follow their stories because their interns often come to Facebook Live to tell the stories. So I was kind of, one day I was kind of playing around with the idea, how about presenting this show through these stories through a puppet show. So I shared this idea with Sylvia, and she immediately liked that idea when I gave her, told her about puppet show. And you probably heard Me Too and Monty, two characters that she created. And we have so much childhood memory with these two puppets, Me Too and Monty. And I didn't even tell her that. So she came up with this, I told her, this is what I'm thinking. And she came up with this amazing little production where she added this Me Too and Monty character. And we have so much memory with these two characters. Then then we thought a little bit further, and we wanted to integrate other languages and make it more kind of a presentable kind of production where we can integrate our language, our other performing art, and we can tell more about the region, the South Asian region, or Asian other languages to the American audiences. Sahar and I, our kids go to the same school, so we meet quite often when we go to pick up our kids. And I somehow had a feeling that Sahar has something to offer when it comes to creative art. So I reached out to her, and she immediately said yes. And she gave me this idea about puppet show, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's another amazing thing. And I met Prashanjit in a community program that I was organizing. And this young man, I observed he has such a progressive idea about how to put together. He was organizing a little drama production. So I was very impressed the way he was using his skill in dramatics in the community program he was putting together. So all together, we then brainstormed and came up with this. And I mean, I didn't have to do much because these three people are so brilliant and so independent. So they did the rest of the work. And I just want to conclude by saying that it is the trickiest part for me putting together is to find a platform that kind of communicates my vision. And when Sahar introduced me with Scott and Rachel, and the first time I talked with Rachel, I kind of immediately understood, yes, we are thinking alike. We are talking about how to project it from the perspective of global citizenship, from the context of multiculturalism, inclusion, not dissecting the cultures in different pockets, rather viewing it from the context of inclusion. So that is something that I wanted to present here. And you know, the rest is all of you guys, what you have done here. Sylvia, Sahar, please feel free to jump in. Prashanjit, please feel free to jump in to tell your story.
Yeah, hi, this is Sylvia here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This. Yes, so as Reshmi just mentioned that how the idea of coming together as a puppetry or visually tell a story from our own countries that has impact on our lives, and also how we grew up listening to these stories. And now that we have so much time with our kids in our home, we felt like this is the time of making that bond with our kids and giving something that we grew up in. And that when we were growing up in back home, we didn't have much allowance to watch TV or internet or like, you know, Wi-Fi games or anything. We actually heard, like, our source of entertainment mostly was just to listen to all the audios and stories from our grandfathers, grandmothers, all the folklores, and also some, like, you know, all these audio visuals that we were listening on the radios. So those has so much background memories of us, and we thought that why don't we just recreate that moment with our kids right now, because we have so much time with our kids right now in a lockdown situation. So that's how the main idea transformed, and we kind of brought up a little bit of old school essence of doing the puppetry, and also how we have seen our characters, and that we can also give a little bit of new twist of stories that, like, you know, all the things were happening around us and what have changed from that time to this time. Gender equalities, global citizenship, all these can be incorporated with our past stories, so that our new generation can make a bridge or come with a link. So that's how we have perceived, that's how I perceived it at least. And that's why this small initiative. So hopefully that has transformed and transferred in some sort of way to you guys today. Thank you.
Sahar, I know you have interesting behind the story to tell.
So, hi everybody. Thank you for watching. Reshmi approached me a few weeks ago, and I immediately said yes, because I enjoy doing creative things. And before I said yes, I hadn't really thought through all the elements of the project. We were home. I have very little experience of any kind of puppetry or any of that sort of thing. And I said, and I just thought of shadow puppets, because I don't even remember why. Maybe I had just seen something of shadow puppets that I went ahead, because I first said dramatic reading because that seemed the easiest thing. And Reshmi said somebody else is doing dramatic reading. So I said, okay, let's try shadow puppets, because it seemed easy to do. It wasn't, but we labored through. It took me some time. I put some of the puppets here. So I just, parts of it were easy, parts of it were difficult. And I think the video recording part to me was the most challenging, to find a space where we could project those puppets. And I had only my kids to help me. There was nobody else who could come in and do that. And I think I'm really grateful to my kids that they played along. It wasn't easy for them because, takes and retakes, children don't have that kind of patience for takes and retakes. So we really had to get everything right. And I'm grateful to Sylvia as well, because she gave me a pro tip, which was that record the audio first, have the audio files recorded, and use those as play those back when you're doing your video recording. In that sense, it made the technology really easy, because the video files and the audio files were exactly the same length. So when I had to layer them over, it actually it actually went very smoothly, much more smoothly than I expected. So I think having time to think through some of these things and try them out, I think was key. And I'm grateful to Reshmi for giving us that, that time, and also all the encouragement. There was a lot of encouragement. She reminded us that this is a home, it's a home project. So everybody realizes that there are limitations. And you can see a lot of those limitations. There was, this particular space on our screen that had to be covered because you could see all the wires and everything there. So, so it's not perfect, but it's an amateur, thing. And it certainly has boosted my confidence to try and, to challenge myself to try things that I haven't done before. But also to give myself, the slack, not not expect perfection every time. So I think that's an important lesson. And working together with my family was actually invaluable. It had its like moments where I wanted to tear my hair out, but it came together, and I think we really enjoyed it. I think we all of us. Ayan, did you enjoy working on the puppet show?
Yes.
What did you enjoy?
Yes.
What did you like? Nothing?
Oh well, I
Got to be
my
there.
kids have also joined through her with her dad. Right now, our kids are so involved, and I know Shahar's kids. They're a few years younger to my kid, and my gosh, I applaud it so much. Your kids' participation, and I mean, this is such a collaborative family moment for all of us. And when I see Scott's kids watching the show, and maybe many of our other kids from other families are also joining, that really fulfills our heart, and especially during this time, right? This is what is meant to be about. But is Prashanjit here? Prashanjit, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So would you
Yeah.
please tell us a bit of your part of
Yeah, I mean, so generally I am active in terms of storytelling and a little bit of theater stuff, as Reshmi has already said. So she came with the proposal that she's doing a storytelling project, and where the many different languages of the South Asia would be involved. So immediately I got very much interested, and then she gave me the task to find out the story, which was the hardest part. I mean, there's so many stories, and it's so hard to filter out which one would be the apt ones for the target audience. But then she specified that the target audience is going to be, I mean, mostly kids, which is from age between I think 0 to 12 years. That's what exactly she said. So then I thought Panchatantra would be the really apt choice, and it exactly goes the reason for which Panchatantra was composed at the very first place. Because let me go to the story, because there was a time when a king would appoint a teacher to teach his kids. They are basically princes, so three princes. So the teacher started to teach those princes, but they were so much unattentive to the lessons. Then the teacher thought that the usual way of teaching them would not be good enough. So that's how he came up with a very small fables, and those fables would be just reflecting various topics like philosophy, psychology, politics, music, astronomy, and he would just do the storytelling, and that's how the princes would learn. So I thought, yeah, I mean, let's go for it, and that's how it all started. And I mean, it took a couple of days to record all the 5 stories, and because the language is Hindi, then we initially had a plan to add the subtitles, but because of lack of time we couldn't do it. Then we settled down with another solution, that will make an introductory slide that would just summarize the story at the beginning, and then I would do my storytelling part. So that's how, I mean, everything got completed, and this is how we are we got the everything prepared today. So thanks, Reshmi, for giving me this opportunity, and thanks to the UT South Asian Institute for giving us such a platform. I mean, this is a great effort, and we should keep continuing doing these kind of stuffs.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about you putting together all of that, being a new dad, Prashanjit.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean, so yeah, we have a kid, not kid actually, it's a toddler who is just 9 months old. So it was really tough to prepare the stories, but again, that was also a motivation, because it was my net practice to do this. Because maybe after a while, when you would be having an edge where it would be my job to tell him the stories. So I got the rehearsals done this time. So so thanks a lot for that. And anyway, this is going to be there in YouTube, so eventually he would get to listen to these.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we really like to have suggestion. Please feel free to visit our the YouTube link and post your comment there, and through UT also you can share your comments and feedback. And as I hear from my storytellers and I myself, I mean, we have ideas that we'd like to do more if we get encouragement. This is just a pilot project, and I know there could be lots of